Years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not only or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
The time between that glorious midnight hour and the golden dawn, for most people in India, seem to be very long drawn out. Hard work and much hardship have gone into these 50 years, thereby earning certain ranking for India among the Comity of Nations. Although India is the 7th largest nation of the world in terms of area, India ranks 2nd in terms of population. India has the 2nd rank in scientific and technical trained manpower, 4th rank in value addition to agriculture, and 19th in value addition to manufacture. With the world's 2nd largest area of arable land, she also has the 2nd largest area under irrigation, the 3rd largest consumer of nitrogenous fertilizers. India ranks 2nd in the production of rice, 3rd in wheat cultivation. India holds the 1st rank in the production of tea, sugar, and milk. Among industrial products, India ranks 5 in the production of cement, while its rank in the production of iron ore is 6th. Connecting a vast nation, India stands 3rd in the world in passenger railway kilometers. India occupies the 8th place in the world in the total generation of electricity. India ranks 4th in the number of radio receivers, 6th in television receivers, while she produces the largest number of feature films.
Despite all this, India presented a basic picture of stagnation because its rate of growth of the gross domestic product remained at a measly 3% for almost 45 years. In 1991, it further crashed to less than 1%.
India was then in the midst of a most severe economic crisis. Our foreign exchange reserves had nearly disappeared. Nobody was willing to give us even a small loan. When we had to raise even a small loan of $500 million, our former creditors asked us to physically ship gold which was kept in the vaults of the Reserve Bank of India. What could be more humiliating than that. At that time, inflation was rampant. Output, employment were sliding down, and it appeared that India might go the same way as later on the Soviet Union went. But we also felt that a crisis is also an opportunity to do those fundamental things which had been thought about before, but somehow could not be implemented, and whose implementation was absolutely essential to bring out the vast latent development potential, the vast latent reservoir of creativity, innovativeness, spirit of enterprise and adventure that exists in India. These were the motivating factors which led to these changes in economic policies brought about by our government.
We have seen the success of this policy. We have seen that rates of industrial growth have grown to even 12% a year before last. And we see India going on this path steadily as these reform processes keep going forward and the procedures become simplified.
India abolished to a large degree industrial licensing and began to encourage entrepreneurs to be guided by the market forces. It slashed import tariff from 300% to under 50% or even lower for some commodities. It reduced the levels and slabs of personal taxation drastically. It ended the monopoly of the state-owned public sector in power, roads, ports, aviation, and telecommunication by inviting both Indian and foreign private investors. India liberalized foreign investment rules. The results have started to show. In mid-1997, India had a foreign exchange reserve of about 25 billion US dollars. A growth of 2,500% in 5 years. In 1995 alone, about 8 million jobs were created. GDP has been growing at 7% per year. Direct foreign investment per annum has grown by 6 times, from 340 million US dollars in 1992 to over $2,100 million in 1995.
This is what liberalization from 91 is doing to the Indian economy. Good for the Indian people, good for the Indian economy.
There has been a murmuring resentment in some quarters that these policies benefit only the upper strata and perhaps the middle-class society. What have the substrata of the millions of unemployed and a vast majority of the poor people of India gained from this new economic policy?
Obviously, the entrepreneurial class, the professional classes, those who are in the service sector have benefited immediately from liberalization. The organized sector has also benefited from liberalization. Wages have risen. Availability of goods and services has improved. Quality of goods and services has vastly improved. But there are 300 million people in India, what I call the bottom one-third, who are without education, without skills, without training, without property, without jobs, without opportunities. To those people, of course, the benefits of liberalization have not yet percolated. We are aware of that, and that is why we have launched a large number of anti-poverty programs or social sector programs in order to bring some relief to these sections. But as the economy grows stronger and stronger, we can appropriate more and more money for health, for education, and for other social sector programs, which will bring immediate relief to the very poor.
And entire Indian industry believes that only with growth can poverty be alleviated, can we look at a new India, can we look at new vibrant India. The new policies because of the growth they will generate. If you look at growth now, you're talking of 8 to 9% growth of GDP. A large section of that can be used to improve health, to improve education, and therefore automatically will remove poverty. The only way that we can remove poverty is not by giving more subsidy, is not by giving more arms, but really to give more help to Indian people to earn for themselves.
We opened up the Indian economy to competition from outside. More liberal policies were imposed to strengthen the competitive base of our industry. We opened up the Indian economy to greater participation by the foreign investment. And before 91, India hardly got $100 million annually by way of foreign direct investment. Now India is getting $2.5 to $3 billion per annum by way of foreign investment.
Liberalization was also a very clear signal for Siemens in India on account of our very positive expectations of the Indian market. We invested more than 250 million German marks in the last 3-4 years. You can say this is approximately 5 times what we have done in the last 10 years before. The major part of this investment program went into 4 new manufacturing facilities in India. This is mainly the plant in Calcutta for telecommunication equipment, in Aurangabad for industrial products, and in Goa for medical equipment. By the way, state of art. Products also for the export. In addition, we have also invested into projects in India. One example only. A few weeks ago, we have executed the 655 megawatt combined cycle power project of GTEC. By the way, this is the first private power project to be set up without any counter guarantees of the government of India. We've started a new joint venture together with BHEL called Power Performance Improvement Limited. This company will focus on renovation and modernization to improve the capacity of existing power plants in India. This is, by the way, the most economical way of increasing the capacities of the available power in the country. But Siemens is not the only German company in India. In fact, German investments are among the top 3 of foreign investments in the country.
Another reservation in some quarters about this opening up of the Indian economy and the globalization process has been that the Indian industry, long used to protection from foreign competition, is not geared to face such stiff competition and may suffer as a consequence of such intrusion by multinationals in the Indian scene. But this is not shared by the captains of industry.
A lot of my friends in government and others told me, Rahul Bajaj, you are the king of the 2- and 3-wheeler industry in India till now for the last 25 years, till 1985. Wait for 2-3 years and now we shall see what happens to you. Because now we have Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Vespa in India, and now we'll see what happens. What happened? It was a correct policy that these people were allowed to come in. Since then, Bajaj Auto's production, which was 100,000 a year in 1980, about 400,000 a year in 1985. Last year, financial year 96-97, we produced and sold over 1.4 million vehicles. We still have a 44% market share in the Indian 2-wheeler industry. The other companies are also doing well, but we are the clear-cut leaders. And there is no waiting period. The customer wants a Honda or a Bajaj or a Yamaha, he gets it immediately. He gets it at a competitive price. We still remain the lowest priced 2- and 3-wheelers in India. But the fact remains, when you let competition flourish, people flourish.
India's primary export commodity of textiles has registered an export growth of 300% in these 5 years, while export of jewellery and gemstones has also registered a 3-fold growth. Export of engineering goods has grown about 250% in these 5 years. Leather is yet another commodity which has registered an impressive export growth.
In the last 5 years, if you see 5 to 6 years, our export was to the tune of $1 billion. And from that to up to this year, 97-98, we are going to achieve 1.8 billion, which is about 80% increase. It has gone almost double to what it was the last six years. This again is the result of the liberalization, the freedom which we got as an exporters to deal with our customers today. And we are today equal to any foreign customers to deal with that, with our buyers. And that is being accepted today internationally, and customers are happy to place orders with Indian exporters in India today. In the research and development section, we have one of the finest institutes, Central Leather Research Institute at Chennai, which is the leading institute in the world, producing leather technologists, also training manpower in the product sectors like footwear, garments. Today our technology is in par with any international technology, and our products are accepted all over the world.
India is building up to become a big global player in the development of computer software, especially high-end application software. Tata Consultancy Services, for instance, have established a factory to solve the millennium bug, where 1,000 computer professionals work in 2 shifts a day.
India today is producing software at the upper end of the software, not at the lower end of the software, which requires programmers and others. Over the past 6 years, we have grown from a relatively small figure of about, in dollar terms, you can say from 100 million to about little over $1 billion. So the growth is about 10 to 12 times over the last 6 years in exports. India has all the wherewithal that needs to become a very big player in this. And that will materialize in the coming years when India itself computerizes. Again, the liberalization is helping to bring in computers into this country in larger numbers.
Our exports have increased significantly in the last 6 years, from about $5 million in the year 92-93 or 91-92 to about $60 million in the financial year 95-96. This is a significant increase in our exports. Put it in other words, from less than 1% of our production, actually 0.5% of our production 6 years ago, to about 5 to 6% of our production in 95-96.
The other notable feature, I think, in the last 5 years of the reform process is a tremendous partnership between government and industry.
It must be remembered that IFU, which was set up by the Danish government to promote and participate in investing in joint ventures in developing countries, we cater for the whole of the Danish business industries. India as a market cannot be ignored. It's a market which is very large today, but which will grow to an enormous market in the future. So if you are an international company, it is very, very difficult, if not to say impossible, to ignore India as a market, both for your product, but certainly also for producing your product. There's a very good relationships between cost and product production here in India. So we rate it quite favorably. As a matter of fact, India today, with 34 of our ongoing investments, tops the list of IFU's investment all over the world. Also, when we look at the amounts and not just the number of projects, it's very interesting to see how India today has grown from 91, where we had around $10 million invested in our 2 companies here, up till today, where we have more than $500 million in a combined investments in IFU's projects in India. And that makes it the largest single country
If we grow at about 7 to 8% a year, it's quite possible that by the year 2020, abject poverty would have been wiped out. Food, shelter, education, healthcare, connectivity, these would have been accomplished by the year 2020.
India has opened up many sectors for foreign investment, including infrastructures like road, telecom, and power generation, besides manufacturing and other industrial activity.
Since 1991, we have actually seen many projects put forward to the Indian government, Indian authorities. Some of these are what have been described by the press as mega projects. The one mega project that has taken off is the Bangalore International Technology Park. This is located in Bangalore in the state of Karnataka. As far as Singapore is concerned, the actual investment in India over the last 5 years should be somewhere in the region close to $900 million US. The important thing is that this is only the beginning. Our message to our investor is that if they wish to be in India to take advantage of the growth potential in the new millennium, the 21st century, which is only a couple of years away, they have to come into India now. And I believe that this message is getting out there. People are looking at the options and opportunities, and they are coming. And we like to believe that if they come, they will bring their friends from other parts of Southeast Asia and the rest of the world to come. And this fit in with our original philosophy of participating actively in the Indian economic liberalization, because we want to play a catalytic role. We want to get more people to come to India. We believe that India can be a success, and the success of India will be a major factor, positive factor, for the regional peace and stability.
The inflow of foreign direct investment increased by more than 60 times in 6 years.
I think today all objective observers of the developing world recognize that India is a country of tremendous potential.
If you even take the normal statement that 200 million people of middle class, of buying power, it's a tremendous potential for people to invest.
Besides being an attractive destination, look at the opportunities that are available in India. There are few countries in the world which need to add, and in fact add, thousands of megawatts of additional power capacity every year, thousands of kilometers of road, millions of telephone lines, millions of tons of fertilizer, and in virtually every area, India's infrastructure needs, which are huge, present a huge opportunity to the foreign investor. We allow foreign investment in each one of these areas. In many of them, we allow up to 100% foreign equity, and we offer very attractive rates of return. The rupee is convertible on the current account. Profits, dividends, royalties can all be repatriated without any restriction. And we have a roadmap which lays out a plan over 3 years for full convertibility on the capital account. I believe that this is an exciting time to invest in India.
We've discovered that we can hire very competent, capable local national employees, and we're very encouraged by the competence of the people that we have on our team. We've done a lot of work with the local supply base. In the early stages of our decision to enter India, we decided it was appropriate to do that through a joint venture relationship. We were fortunate to be able to establish relationships with Mahindra & Mahindra, and that has proved to be a very positive aid to entering the marketplace, with Ford bringing product and management expertise, and Mahindra & Mahindra bringing specific knowledge and capability within the market and with government relations.
We, the people of India, are making yet another tryst with destiny, with the wisdom of a 5,000-year-old civilization, with the experience of 500 years of political upheavals, including 2 centuries of enslavement and a long and bitter struggle for freedom. 50 years of unparalleled tradition as the world's largest democracy, and 5 years of a new thrust of economic awakening. A tryst with destiny to work together and to create a just and equitable society?
Well, I think as I said once, I think India is now at a stage when greatness is knocking at its door. I see a great deal of future for India in the 21st century Asia. And next century is Asia century. And India is bound to occupy a very remarkable position in that. We have to be only clear on 2 or 3 points, and that is that we should not try to take off with only a segment of our society, be it 20% or 30% or 40%. We must take the entire population with us into that new century of greatness.
The great thinker of modern times, J. Krishnamurti, said, "We are the world and the world is ourselves. Hence, we change the world by simply changing ourselves." The students of a school based on his principles join the 5,000-year chorus of the Song of Immortality.
Chandrama me manasi shritaha mano hridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani disho me shodhe shritaha shotragum hridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani apo me dvetasi shritaha dveto hridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani